All right, everyone, how are you? Welcome to this week's episode of our podcast. It's called Is Breakfast Included? Thanks for stopping by. On the show this week, Lisa and I had the pleasure of sitting down with actor, writer, sometimes producer, and self-proclaimed recovering scientist, Dipti Mehta. Dipti talked about growing up in Mumbai, India, how she caught the acting bug, moving to Arizona to finish school, getting back into acting. We talked a lot about her award-winning one-woman show, Honor, Confessions of a Mumbai Courtesan. She explained how she got the inspiration, why she needed to do it. Just way too much to cover in this one interview. She's done so much. It was a lot of fun getting to know Dipti, and I highly suggest you check out this episode. Let's check it out. Tell everyone who you are.
Oh my goodness. Hello, everybody. My name is Dipti Mehta. I mean, you should know me already. No, I get it. You don't know me yet. My name is Dipti Mehta. I'm an actor, writer. Sometimes I kind of act as a producer. I am from Mumbai, India, and I'm a mom, and I'm a recovering scientist. I say that because I feel like once I left science, but science kind of refuses to leave me. So I just have to recover from it all my life. So I think that's kind of in a nutshell, a little bit about me, but we can, talk about me more as we go on.
Cool. Recovering scientist. I like that. You grew up in Mumbai. How long did you live there?
Until I was 24. And then on and off. Yeah. Then I went for a year and a half again after finishing my PhD. Yeah.
And what brought you here to the U.S.?
I came to the U.S. to go to school to get my PhD.
And then you just stayed.
Well, I kind of didn't stay. I got my PhD at University of Arizona in Tucson. And then I went back to India for a year and a half, and then I came back.
Yeah.
But I kind of, I still am, I'm going to go back tomorrow. It's always like that. So I don't know if I have stayed. Yes, I have stayed, but yeah.
And growing up, did you, you have your PhD in molecular biology, you said? Molecular science?
Molecular, cellular biology, and cancer biology.
Yeah. And growing up, is that what you wanted to do, or did you want to be an actor?
Secret, no. I always wanted to be an actor. Yeah, I did not want to. So science fascinated me. It was very interesting because I got exposed to stage at a very young age. I was 5 or 6 years old when I first was cast in a school play, and I was on stage, and I remember that so clearly, just being on stage playing like a vegetable or something. It was like a nutrition thingy, that our teacher was doing. And I just felt so great. I just felt like there were kids who were crying and scared. And I was just like, are you kidding me? This is awesome. But yeah, so I was fascinated by science also always. I remember being in 4th grade and my dad took us to a book fair. He used to love books and, reading basically. And so we were exposed to lots of books early on. And I remember picking up a book about cancer with a crab on it. And my brothers were like, what is this? What do you want to read? Why do you want to read this? I was like, I don't know. I want to read about this. What if I get it one day? Anyway, so I always was fascinated by science. I would do the science projects, there would be inter-school exhibitions, and I would always want to put up a school exhibit for that and all of that. And then I naturally just went into science as a stream for studying. In India, after 10th grade, you go to college and you choose what stream you're going to do, which is basically when I was growing up, there were 3 main streams: commerce, arts, and science. And you choose one of these 3 things. So I chose science, and I fell in love with microbiology. And then I did my master's in microbiology. But the way you study in India is very different than here. Here you get to choose your electives. In India, you don't have that much choice. After my 12th grade, I could choose biology, chemistry, and botany, zoology, chemistry, and microbiology, or physics, chemistry, microbiology. But those are my choices. So they were basically narrowed down to science. So that So I studied it because I was fascinated by it, but I always, always, always wanted to be an actor.
Yeah. So there was no like you could like major in biology but minor in arts. You couldn't pick two?
No.
No.
I think in India at the time, there were like maybe 2 schools that taught acting as a major.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't a degree, it was a diploma.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was very expensive, if I remember. There was one that was government run, so it wasn't too expensive, but it wasn't in Mumbai. And the other one was private. So yeah,
And
What
why
was it?
Arizona?
because they gave me a scholarship.
Okay. All right.
I didn't have any money. I just was like, whoever wants to give me a scholarship, I'll go.
Okay.
So yeah, and I had a friend who had gone there a year before me in the same program, so that helped.
Okay.
Yeah.
And did you do any acting when you were going to school, or what was your first experience?
So I had a reverse culture shock. I was like, whoa, where am I? I'm used to the oceans. Mumbai is like, an island, right? Just like New York. And here there were mountains and it was hot and there was so greenery and there were no people on the streets. And, it was just like, why aren't people walking? But, sorry, what did you ask me, Bernie? I totally lost track of.
Oh, I'm
was
sorry.
your
I was just saying, what was your first experience into acting?
Yeah. Oh, no, you were asking me if I dabbled into acting when I was going to school here. Not really, because there weren't that many opportunities to act per se, but I started dancing a lot because I was an international student. And, the first couple of years, it's kind of like easygoing. You have to take coursework, like you're studying, but because in India, everything is so like, tightly focused on your major, I kind of knew a lot that we were studying already. So I was able to take a lot of dance classes. So I took I actually took credit, like courses for credit, which were like theater dance, modern dance, jazz. Then outside of that, I learned salsa, flamenco. And then there was a group that we formed, which was like, we would do semi-classical Indian dancing. So I was also training for 2 different Indian classical forms while I was in Tucson. South Indian, which is Bharatnatyam, and North Indian, which is Kathak. So I loved doing those. And we created a group that would do fusion choreography. So we would take Bollywood and then classical Indian forms, and then would just like create our own choreography and stuff. So that was fun. So I did a lot of that, but not much acting, unfortunately. I was always looking for opportunities, though. I remember one time driving all the way to Phoenix because there was like somebody told me about this movie that was being made, and I went there to audition, and they didn't have any real parts for me. But I think after 4 years, when I was in Phoenix, I landed up working with the same group as their AD and location scout. So it's kind of interesting. But yeah, I didn't get to do any acting. That was
Okay.
like,
So was that you talked about the culture shock? Was that a culture shock to you coming to Arizona and already kind of knowing what they were going to teach you, so you had to take these other classes to kind of fill up your credits?
no, I had no clue. I
Okay.
literally had no idea what I was getting myself into or like what this was going to be like. It was actually really interesting. I loved my time there in terms of studying. My mentor, I still keep in touch with him, an amazing, amazing scientist. I'm very fortunate. And the way it worked for University of Arizona, at least in my program, is that the year you come in, you kind of go through different labs and you spend like, I think, 3 months in each lab. At the end of that, you do a little presentation. And at the end of that, you see if you want to settle down in this lab. Like you date them all and then you figure out who you want to marry. So, yeah, so I worked in one lab that worked in earthworms, also an amazing scientist, had a lot of fun. So I rotated through 2 labs. And then the third lab that I was in, I really just loved the work that my mentor was doing. And I decided to stay back in that lab. But yeah, I didn't know what coursework I was going to be doing. What does it look like to be in school here? Everything was new. And I think culture shock was more like Mumbai being such a, big city. Always like it's basically just like New York, right? It's a city of dreams. It's a city that never sleeps. people come from all over India to make their Bollywood dreams real, So it's very much like New York. So you come from that, like a, bustling city, like always alive, to a place that's like so quiet. And Mumbai is, again, coastal city versus like this is a hot and dry place with mountains. I didn't know what to do with mountains.
Yeah.
I learned.
Very hot. At what point did you start shifting from what you studied to saying, I think I want to try my acting after you got your AD job? At what point after that?
So I kind of knew, I think 3 years into my PhD or something, that I enjoy it, but I don't feel passionately towards it. Like I would still be in the lab, running experiments in the middle of the night. So that was not a problem. Like I can do that kind of work anytime, like, where you're like, I'd have a 48-hour experiment and I would sleep in the lab, and that was fine for me. But at the same time, I just felt like, one of the things about science is like you could literally spend 40 years or 50 years of your life researching something, and somebody can come by and within a year of research can disprove everything that you worked for. And that has happened so many times. And part of it was just like, I remember having a whole year that I spent creating a specific human cell line. I had got these cell lines from Japanese scientists, so we were collaborating with them. And it was like so hard to even get them. Once I got them, it took me a year to then change them into what I wanted them to behave like, so that then I could run this experiment. And then I run this experiment and I get negative data. And negative data is still data, but a year's worth of work was just like, all right, got to find another path now, which was great in terms of learning. Because like you can put your heart and soul into everything, and universe might not conspire to give you the result that you want to see, right? And then you just have to pivot. So it really teaches you to be like resilient, and you're just shooting arrows in the blind. You have no idea what's going to happen, right? So I remember like after that year, first being just depressed, like, oh, all this work.
Frustrating.
Luckily, yeah, it was. But luckily those cells were used by other people that I made. So at least that was something. But, I just didn't want to have my life be spent like that. And I respect all the scientists who do that, because without them, we wouldn't see a lot of things and understand a lot of things. But at the same time, when I left Mumbai, I was doing really well in voice acting and voice jobs. And I was a radio jockey and I loved it. I enjoyed it so much, but I wanted to do something more meaningful. I was like, I want to solve cancer. And, and then as I think around 3 years later, I was just like, I like this, but I don't love this. So I'm just, and I was really missing acting. I was really missing it. So I was trying to fulfill that void with dancing and all the other sorts of things, just, I'd never been like a party kid. I wasn't allowed at home, but now we were like partying every weekend. All of that was happening. Like, I was finally being young and living it, as hard as I could, but it wasn't filling the void that I always felt, which was this performing. I just really wanted to do that. So within 3 years, I knew that but I wanted to finish it because I had gotten a scholarship. So university had invested so much money in me. My dad was really sick when I left India, and, I just didn't want to not finish it. I lost my dad while I was doing my PhD, and I just wanted to kind of like finish it. So I did, but I knew that I was just going to go back to my arts.
Yeah. Did that system of, or that process of doing all this research and it not panning out, being disproved, did that prepare you for like rejections in the acting world? Like, because if you get a rejection in the acting world, you're like, well, maybe I'm not right for this, but I can still do something else in this, whereas in science, it's almost definite. Like it didn't work out, got to start from square one, you know.
The right answer to say would be yes, it prepared me. But it did in some ways, and it didn't in some ways, because I was so used to getting things offered to me in India, because I was, I just got into the system very young. So, and then I did plays when I was in college, and I started doing these competitions, and I got some awards. And so like I already, and then I was on All India Radio, so people heard my voice, and I would get offers for things. So I really thought I was pretty good.
Yeah.
I thought I was talented. I thought I'm just going to make it like this. I am not afraid. And then I come here and boy, everything is an issue. My accent, the way I look, the way I sound, the way I speak. Even now, sometimes in my acting class, my coach will remind me, like, you sound sing-songy. Like, that's just how we speak. But like everything in India is big, like Bollywood is big. We are very expressive people as Indians, just generally are very expressive. We love to use our face a lot, and I was too big. And I was like, I don't understand how to make it too small. So what was great was all of that rejection and lack of opportunity. I'm just not one of those people who will just like go down quietly in the dark. I'm not. So I was like, what can I do? So I started studying. I started taking classes. I started working on accent. I started working on I started just I started creating my own work because I was like, okay, nobody has roles for me. So maybe I need more visibility and how do I create it? So I knew that there were people who were creating their one-person shows. And so I wasn't really experienced in it, but I was like, I know what am I going to lose? I'll do it. Yeah. So I started doing that. So I got to study with some amazing acting coaches. I'm so fortunate because New York has some of the best coaches that the country has to offer. So I'm very lucky in that regard. So yeah, so in that sense, it did prepare me because pivoting was a part of this, a PhD all the time, like you were pivoting constantly. So it's like, okay, I just have to figure this out. My method is not working. What I have to offer, nobody's buying. So let me start selling what people want to buy.
Is that when you wrote Honor?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was so bad in the beginning. Sure. I started already telling you. Like in the beginning, I just wrote like a little something. It was just, 20-minute version, 2 characters. And it was not very good. But, I found a director who said that he would work with me on one condition, that I hire a dramaturge. So we hired a dramaturge. And that was the best thing I could have done as a budding writer, because now I had somebody to guide me and brainstorm with me. And so the first iteration even like got shaped by a lot of the brainstorming and questions that came from the dramaturge. And then it's like I performed it at a not so well-known festival. And then a couple of years later, I was performing it at like a small little boutique kind of a 30-seat theater, somebody's home that has been converted into a theater in New York. And I get a call a week later from this lady, Carrie Lovelace, and she's like, hey, I saw your show that night in this particular, place, and are you free to meet? And I'm interested in the show. I'm interested in developing it further. So we met, and then she offered me a few options of directors, and we settled on Terry Berliner, who's a really dear friend now, 10, 15 years later. And we mounted it at La Mama. And that was like the beginning of Honor starting to shape itself into what it finally became. So started writing it in 2009 or 10. And then finally in 2016, we were at the New York Fringe and we got the Overall Excellence Award. And then after that, I started touring with it until COVID decided to wipe everything out. So that's kind of the journey of the show.
And what inspired you to tell that story?
I mean, I wanted to create a one-woman show. And in the beginning, I was just like, I wasn't thinking of playing a man. I was just thinking, actually, in the beginning, it wasn't even a one-woman show that I wanted to create. I just created a 2-women show because I had another friend who was an actress. And I was like, I'll write a part for you, a part for me. We'll do it together. And then the dramaturge was like, lovely that you have your friend, lovely that you want her to act with you, but we're going to make it a one-woman show. Add one more character. And I was like, oh, okay. So then it became a 3-character thing. And then, in the next iteration, it became a 5-character thing. But the reason I chose this, like I said, was so that I could have me and my friend be in it. And I wanted to create something that gave people an idea of what a mother-daughter relationship can look like in a very in a place where people don't think of people as in terms of relationships. So I had worked on a feature when I was doing stuff at All India Radio. There was a feature about children in the brothels, and I had supported the artists with, like, some of the editing and all of that. I was very young then, and I wasn't really allowed to go for live interviews because my parents were really worried. But I was really fascinated by these kids, and whatever I was hearing during the editing and all of that, I was just like, these are just somebody's kids, just like I am, or they just speak differently. They sound a little bit harsh and, traumatized. I didn't know the word then, but they just sounded sad. And I was very fascinated by that world. And also, like, we used to take local transport, which would go by the red light district. So you would see these women outside really tiny curtained doors, just standing and trying to get the next client. And again, I was very fascinated by that. So I used to wonder, what would a mother-daughter relationship be like in a situation like this? So that was the inspiration to create the story that I did land up creating. Yeah.
How did you prepare to emotionally and physically do 7 different characters in one play?
That's such a great question. Through rehearsals, to be very honest, it was a lot of play, a lot of fun, just trying things out. And there is a character that's a priest, and he's like this. He's old, and his eyes are like this. And so, but for that, I tried different facial things and like moving around like him. And I would just try things in rehearsals, and like the director would give me some feedback. But I'd be, yeah, I don't know how I felt in my body. Let me try something else. So it was a lot of somatic work, actually, because a lot of times people think the characters come from, intellectually thinking about them or imagining them. But I just really let my body live in some other shape and form. I let myself sound a little different. So if I was playing the pimp, I was like, I'm just going to sound like this. Hey, what the hell do you want from me, huh? And see where that goes. Or if I was playing the a eunuch, then I would just be like, hi, you want to talk to me? Hi. Like, I would try these pitches. I tried physicalities, and I would just like, so the eunuch would just walk like this with the chest out. And I would try all these things, and I would just see what feels right in my body. And I wanted them to be distinct and separate. So the moment something felt right, I was like, okay, I want to work with this more. So we would rehearse more with it. And that's basically my process. I just let my body, my voice, my instrument tell me how to transform.
Wow. While performing this, what did you hope an audience member would walk away thinking about it?
That's a fantastic question. I just hope to at least, I was like, if one person walks out thinking, oh my God, I never thought of sex workers like this. Like, if one person feels the heart of this mother in the show, I would have done my job, because there's such a huge stigma. I know that it's more so in Eastern parts of the world for sex workers, but I feel it's here too. We kind of judge people so easily. It's just what we do. I'm not saying that it's the right thing or a wrong thing to do. We're just like that. We're human beings. We judge people on everything. But I think sometimes we judge people too harshly based on how they sound, they look, or like, she's being so bad to her daughter. She's selling her daughter. She's doing this, she's doing that, or she's using curse words. Look at how, crass that sounds. But if you go deep within, then I think all human beings are just trying to do the best they can given the circumstances. So I just really wanted people to get that. And if people can get that and the stigma stops, then more of sex trafficking victims, when they come out of sometimes they get rescued and they go right back. Because they're just like, the world is not ready to accept us. At least my pimp is nice to me, or has become nice to me. At least he feeds me. At least I have a roof over my head. So
sad.
Yeah, because you're right. Like, you come out of that world, and even the quote unquote the saviors that bring you out, but then they don't really know how to work around it. And then they're just kind of left on their own. It's like it's
Yeah.
almost like all this talk of like save the kids, save the kids. But once the kids are saved, what the people that were saving them just kind of leave them hanging out to dry.
Yeah.
So you're right. They do. You go back to that life because it's what you know, and it's a safe place, so to speak.
Safe place, yeah. And the trauma of all of it is not even mentioned. Most nonprofits, even that work with people who are, either in the brothels or have been rescued from the traffickers and stuff, the mental health aspect is not even touched at, not even talked about. Most of these kids, women, trafficking victims have been abused to a degree that is hard to imagine. And for them to not get any support for that, and then on top of that, to have to deal with further trauma of stigma and being not accepted is just horrendous.
Which
So
is
that-
even. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, so that was just my hope that people can open their hearts a little,
Yeah. And the stigma is sometimes worse than the abuse because it almost confirms what the abuser did to them. Like, you're no good. This is all you are. And then the stigma is basically saying that's what you were and you can't get,
You can't, yeah.
It's sad. It's sad all around because, victim shaming is
Yeah.
what we're good at here. Not here. Not here. I don't mean here.
No, just
but
generally in the world.
Yeah.
Generally in the world, yeah.
Have you ever felt pressure to represent your community in your work, or do you not feel like?
I've never felt like I'm pressured to represent my community, but there is one thing that I'm always aware of. As soon as I moved to the US, I realized that I'm the whole country. If you interact with me, you are not interacting with Dipti as an individual. You kind of are interacting with me and making kind of some conclusions about India, about Indians. So you're interacting with me as an Indian ambassador almost. Yeah. That became a little bit clearer to me as years were passing by. Not like nobody's doing it, consciously, but subconsciously, like you land up listening to people like, oh yeah, I get cast as doctors and lawyers quite a bit, right? So that's because there's a certain stereotype that Indians are smart people, they'll be doctors. But we can be dumb too. I mean, it's very interesting. Like the number of times I've played a nurse or a doctor is amazing. But so I just generally think that, and that's true for all of us. Like when in a place like New York, when you meet people, you meet cultures, yes. You meet languages, you meet accents, you meet countries, you meet cuisines. So I feel like in that regard, for instance, like I have very close friends who are German. They've eaten food that I make. So for them, that's the Indian food. So, but if they go to Southern India, that's not the Indian food that they're going to get, right? Yeah. But for them, this is, so that I'm aware of. But I never feel pressured to represent anything. I'm just representing humanity as I live it.
Yeah. When you said you had to that you worked on accents, what other accents do you do?
So I don't think I'm that good at most of them, but the American one I tried to learn for quite a few years. And, if I am in a setting and if I work on my vocal warm-ups and stuff, I think I can do American, I can do British. I also took class for Southern accent. I can do a little bit Russian, although I don't think I'm ever going to be cast as Russian, but especially if I'm watching a show, I will be able to copy that. So if I'm watching Downton Abbey, then I could be Lady Mary, talk to Lord Grantham. If I watch something, then I start to do that. Like I start to talk like them.
Yeah. I spend the majority of my time for the last 15 years around British people. Oh. And I have the worst British accent, but I continue to use it just to get the laugh.
Don't use it.
Lisa's heard my British accent.
Don't do it.
And my Jamaican accent. They're
Maybe
terrible.
Just do it for us.
No.
Come on.
But I think they refer to me as Dick Van Dyke from Mary Poppins. It's that bad.
Is it that bad?
Yes.
Well, then let's have a laugh.
I'll do it next time I see you.
Okay. Well, for me, British accent comes to me easier because I grew up in India.
Uh-huh.
So the English that we learned is Queen's English. So we have our own Indian version of it, but I think it's closer to Britain than it is to the US.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you've worked in radio and theater, film, TV. Do you have a favorite medium?
Oh my God, hands down stage.
Stage.
Yeah, hands down. I love stage. I love them all so much, but like everything has a different charm to it. Stage is just so electric. Once I'm on there, I don't know what happens. I just feel like I'm so nervous right before I go. I'm like, oh, I'm praying. I'm literally behind the curtain looking at audience, and I'm like, I shouldn't do that. I shouldn't do that. I'm not afraid of people, but I'm just like more afraid of like, oh, I think what I'm about to do is garbage.
Yeah.
I don't know if people are going to like it, whatnot. So I always have that. But the moment I go on stage and the lights come up, and I just love it. It's my absolute favorite place. I hope I can die being on stage at the end of the show so that the show is not spoiled. That would be my dream. But I also absolutely loved radio. Voice acting was so much fun. I think you could be so carefree because, I'd be dressed in pajamas sometimes because, I became like the emergency call radio jockey because I lived close enough. I lived 20 minutes away. And so they would call me. They'd be like, the radio jockey can't make it for 7 a.m. show. Can you show up? And it'll be like 6:40. I was like, yep. And I just run like, I'd be like, bye, Mom. And then sometimes I wouldn't come back till like 5 or 6 or 7 in the evening because nobody showed up. One day I remember I started at 7 in the morning because the radio jockey canceled. And I was the only radio jockey who could do both English and Hindi shows. So the English person in the morning had canceled. Then the Hindi person canceled. Then they kept canceling. So I was on air from 7 in the morning till 10 at night. Wow. And I didn't feel like I was working at all. It was so much fun. So I enjoyed that too. And TV film have their own charm. It's just different screen, stage. They're different mediums. But yeah, if I had to pick one, I'd have to pick stage.
Yeah. Do you feed off the audience? Is that what it is?
Not necessarily. Because it's dark, right? So you don't always see the audience. And also, you don't really look at the audience. You look above them slightly because otherwise, if you're in a character and if I land up looking at you, then I might break flow of my character because now you might give me something. So I'm never going to look at an audience member.
Yeah.
Unless I'm hosting something, then I'm playing with the audience members all the time. Then it's so much fun. So I used to MC a lot. And that was always like, I would pick, like I was kind of doing stand-up just as MC. But if I'm doing a stage performance, then I'm not looking at the audience. Like I said, once I step on the stage, the audience isn't there for me. Then if I'm doing a one-woman show, then I have my own imaginary places that I've created. One of the things that was unique about Honor, my one-woman show, is that it wasn't like other one-person shows where it's a memoir or a narrative piece where like somebody's narrating and then you see other people popping in with different accents and all. Honor is a story of 7 characters. And there's a scene where 3 characters are together. And I would just like say one line, change the physicality, say another line. And so I still have my people, my characters to live. So I'm not playing with the audience when I'm playing a character or multiple characters. So no, I don't feed off of the audience. Yes, at the end when I get the applause, I'm lucky a standing ovation, then I'm like, oh, yes.
Keep it going.
Flip these back.
Going back to Honor, did you ever film that? And if not, is it something that you would want to do?
Film is as in like film the stage version?
Film the stage version.
So we did film it pre-COVID. And during COVID, I think we got really good at filming theater shows.
Okay.
With proper lighting and all that. So until then, we would just film it the way just like you put a camera in a good place and then there's like heads moving in the front. But we would have it recorded so that if a presenter was looking for it, then we would give them the video. But it's not like a video is, at least from that time, are not as enjoyable as the actual show because it doesn't do justice at all. But yeah, the second part of your question, would I like to film it? I don't know necessarily, like because the beauty of that show is just on stage. It, watching it on screen,
Yeah.
if you're sitting in your house watching it on a small screen, it just wouldn't. The whole stage has like fabrics in the set, and it's just like so much happening. It's just beautiful to experience it in
To be
person.
present with it.
Yeah.
Do
You
you
don't want
have
to be eating popcorn and seeing this like a movie theater. That's not honor.
do you have a dream role that you'd like to play someday, or
That's so interesting. I don't think I necessarily have a dream role, but I just think something that challenges me, something that helps me grow. Honor did that plenty. Like, with just because I also kept adding characters. I removed a character. I used to have an American journalist as one of the key characters, and I just took it off. And so it challenged me quite a bit as a writer and as a performer as well. It was interesting. The other day, somebody looked at me and said, I was in a play reading and we were rehearsing. And the co-actor is like, you look like Indira Gandhi. And I was like, wouldn't she be fun to play? Like a politician would be
Yeah.
fun to play, especially somebody as complex as Indira Gandhi. I mean, there's a movie that already came out, and there's an actress who played her really well. But I think like a politician would be great to play. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think I just love to play people. Any character. I feel like it's all transformation, transforming yourself into something else. It's pure fun. Yeah.
You have a YouTube channel,
Yes.
Dr. D Talks.
Dr. Detox, All Things Detox. Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
It's relatively new. I've only got like a handful of episodes out because I'm at this point in my life, I'm really focused on my health and well-being, my emotional and mental well-being, as well as physical well-being. I've been dealing with some health stuff, and I realized that I've been really burning my candle at both ends pretty much all my life. And a lot of life has happened, good stuff, not so good stuff, all of it. And I feel like in the process, there are things that I didn't handle well for my emotional and physical well-being. So I'm learning to do that. So I prioritize that. And as I do that, I also want to share things with people because I feel like the things that I'm doing could maybe support maybe one more person, just like honor. Like if I can change one person's life in a small way, it would be great. So I want to share everything that I'm doing that's working for me through this channel called Dr. D Talks, All Things Detox. I go by Dr. D. I have a little boutique shop called D's Apothecary. So I already had the Dr. D in place. So I figured, I can do a play of word with that. Yeah. I think we all, for me, I can speak for myself. I am and was very present to the need for detoxifying my life, not just a body detoxification, but like the space that I live in, the relationships, the emotional plane, all of that. And so I just created this YouTube channel. And because my focus is still on my well-being first, if I have time, I post it. If I don't have time, it's just,
Yeah.
That's great.
And that's great. That's a very important thing in the whole, what you call detox, like not just, physically, but, sometimes you have to cut things out of your life. It could be a longtime friend. It could be, but.
Yeah. And as we go through life, a lot of times those things happen on their own as well.
Yeah, they do.
And then we have to deal with them. So dealing with them is also that important, right? Like, I feel like I have been at the end of having friends who left also. And sometimes you just have to forgive yourself and forgive them and just move on. But that also takes work because we, like as a culture, I feel like we've gotten so busy. We don't like sit for a minute to process anything. We're just like, so yeah, detoxification. That's my focus right now.
All right on. Well, Dipti, thank you so much for your time. I know we've been trying to do this, and after we saw you the other day, we were like, we're going to do it. So thank you for taking time to do this. I know you're busy right now. Our podcast is called Is Breakfast Included? And this is the most important question of all. If we were having breakfast, what would you have?
I would probably have a handful of walnuts, soaked probably. I would have probably a salad or a very, very green smoothie with hardly any fruit in it. Or I'll have like a millet porridge
Oh, wow.
or something. Yeah. Or like a little bit of tofu. That would be my breakfast.
That's a new one.
Healthy. Yeah, that's super healthy.
Very healthy.
Do you
Yeah,
drink
actually,
coffee or anything or no?
no, I don't drink any coffee or tea. Thanks to my dad, he was very strict about all those things. We weren't allowed, so I just never got into the habit. But I start my day with a few basil leaves and black pepper seeds, and then I have some curry leaves, and then I'll have some sprouted horse grams. Yeah, that's something I would have. Some sprouts.
Black pepper seeds?
The black peppers, the corn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You eat?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, like 3 pieces wrapped in basil leaves, like a little,
Spicy treat.
yeah. But it's supposed to be really great to just open up your system. For some time, I was also doing this tea with ginger, turmeric, black pepper, bay leaf, whatever else I would have at hand. Like I grow some rosemary, thyme, any of the herbs, I just put them in. But ginger, definitely.
Yeah.
A little bit of cinnamon. And that's how I would start my day. But yeah.
Cool.
Long-winded answer to your breakfast question.
No, that's a good answer.
that's
We
the
like
most
the different
original.
one. Yeah, we like
It's the
that.
most original in almost 5 years that we've been doing this. So
Oh, really? Well, I
It
feel
is.
good.
yes. Where can people find you online if they want to check out your YouTube channel and your Etsy shop?
YouTube channel is on YouTube, Dr. Detox, All Things Detox. My website is www.diptimehta.com. I spell my name with an I, so Dipti, because there are Diptis who spell their name with E's, Dee. So diptimehta.com. Also have my show's website called honorcmc.com, and we spell honor like British people too. So HONOURCMC.com. And there's actually a comic book that I wrote that has their own website. I was commissioned to write this comic book. It's called Priya and the Lost Girls, and the franchise is called Priya Shakti. So the website is priyashakti.com. They can find a little bit about me on there too.
Wow.
Well, we will link all that to your episode, but
You're fascinating.
it is. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
You're
Yeah,
so
thank you
welcome.
for doing this.
It was
We
good
appreciate
talking
it.
to you.
And I'm really happy to have had a chance to be on your show.
Thank you. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
Right on, Dipti Mehta. You can find out more about Dipti at diptimehta.com. That's DIPTIMEHTA.com. Or you can check out her YouTube channel, Dr. D Talks. While you're online, make sure you go on over to isbreakfast.com. You can follow us on Facebook and Instagram, rate and review our show on Apple Podcasts, and go to our YouTube page and make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell. While you're online, while you're there, make sure you pick up one of our new designs, one of our shirts, to sport it and represent. Who knows? We may catch you out in the wild and post you up on our new Instagram. Before I let you go, I just want to say a rest in peace to my hero and the inspiration for one of our new shirts, Mr. Ozzy Osbourne. All right, guys, I'm done. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next week.